Okay, you're all set. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the December 3rd meeting of the Barnstable Town Council. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live on Channel 18 in accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20. I must inquire whether anyone is taping this meeting, and if so, make their presence known. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, welcome, and roll call, please, for attendance.
Councilors Atzelis,
Present.
Bogan,
Present.
Clark.
Here.
Cullum.
Here.
Dagwan. Rapp Grissetti.
Present.
Hebert.
Present.
Levesque.
Here.
Neary.
Here.
Schnapp.
Here.
Shaughnessy.
Here.
Starr.
Here.
Steinhilber.
Here.
12.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen and councilors, I would ask that if you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm asking Madam Vice President to lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now have a moment of silence. I think it's better if we sit down because I'm getting emails of family members being concerned about their loved ones standing by themselves in silence in front of the computer, and they're worried about that. So, sitting down, let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you very, very much. All right, now we're going to have our public comment, please. And Sarah, and is Lynn with us tonight, or is Cindy covering on the phones?
I'll be covering the phones, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. Thank you. Sarah?
Yep. Cindy, do you have anybody on the phone right now?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. I have a couple of people that are here just to show support for the for item number 2021-036, but they didn't want to speak. So I'm just going to say their names now. It was Boris Ellman, Kathleen DeFeo, and John DeFeo. There was a gentleman who wasn't sure if he wanted to speak. I did invite him over. I'm going to go back to the other room and see if anybody else would like to speak, and I will be right back.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Cindy, do you have anyone on the phone?
No, sir.
No. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mahuno, are you here for public comment?
I'm sorry, was it Mark Mahoney?
Yes, are you here for public comment?
Yes, please.
You may give your testimony now, thank you.
Hello, Town Council. My name is Mark Mahoney from Centerville. My wife and I respectfully request that the town council support the funding for the Marston Mills Court. We are active, retired adults. The courts are vital to our body, mind, and well-being. We utilize the courts 5 days a week, and which are not in the best shape. And my friends and I reside in Barnstable County and meet most days to play the grand game of pickleball. The exercise and communication with our fellow friends and members in Barnstable County is invaluable. So we really appreciate your support, and best regards to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mahoney, and happy pickleballing.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy holidays. Thanks.
Next for public comment, we have Carrie. Carrie, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, you have 3 minutes.
You are unmuted. Okay. I'm Kerry McNamara. I'm an avid pickleball player and also a member of the Barnstable Pickleball Committee. Our town is one of the last towns in the Cape to have dedicated courts. Presently in our town, there is only play in the mornings on Bay Lane. Therefore, if you work or go to school, you cannot play pickleball because the nets are locked up. Dedicated courts will open play to everyone at all hours, and I would hope the town council continues to support this project as they did last year. And our friend Jim Crocker also supported these courts. So I would hope that it continues.
Thank you very much, Kerry. And again, happy pickleballing to you.
Thank you.
That is all I have for public comment via Zoom.
Okay. Now,
There's no public comment on the phone either.
okay. Thank you very, very much. And when we do get to the item, it does have public hearing. So if anyone calls in still and wants to speak on that item, they would be able to do so at that time. Thank you. So response to public comment. And any councilors responding to? Okay. I'm not seeing. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Bogan, please. Councilor Bogan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I must say that I think it must be a reflection of the changing dynamic or character of our community. It used to be that there were advocates of school funding for younger kids, and now we're getting abundant letters and testimony regarding people who are of my vintage who want pickleball courts. So I applaud them for their enthusiasm, their effort to remain fit, and I only hope I can stay with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Levesque, please.
Thank you, President Hebert. I just wanted to echo Councilor Bogan's and just thank Boris, Kathleen, John, Mark, Kerry for their comments and everybody else who sent in emails. It is pickleball is a long time coming. I remember I think the first field study that came across when 2018 it was mentioned, and it was a brand new idea. And here we are a couple years later, and I do plan on voting in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Councilor Dagwan, please.
Yes, I'm an avid pickleball player myself. Pickleball has been around for quite a while, and the only place you could play it at one time was at the HYCC in the morning. So, and it's grown, and it's good to see. I'm a tennis player, and I found it very difficult this summer. I remember asking quite a few counselors if any of you played tennis, so I'd have somebody to play tennis with, and contacted the HYCC to find out where I could play tennis this summer because of the pandemic. And so I know there have been a lot of people pushing for these courts, and so it's nice to see the increase in numbers and providing more opportunity for people to get out and exercise, particularly those of us at a certain age. Thank you.
Who would have known, Councilor Dagwan, that you were into pickleball? Maybe we could come up with a council team to play pickleball. That would be very interesting.
I tried that when I was on the But I was on the school committee at one time trying to get a tennis team. It didn't work out too well, but I did advocate for exercise. So anyway,
Awesome.
it's a good thing.
Good job. Thank you. Any other counselors? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. And we will now go to Town Manager's Communications. Please, Town Manager Els.
Good evening, Mark Ellis, Town Manager. This is my update for the period of November 20th through December 3rd. First on my update is Chief Peter Burke from the Hyannis Fire District. He's going to provide us an update on the remote testing status in Barnstable. But while I have this opportunity, I want to thank Chief Burke. He's been a key partner and a member of our emergency response team, as all the chiefs have, but Chief Burke's been there with us daily since we began our meetings, the beginning of last year. He is an integral part of the decision-making in our community, certainly for our municipality, and not just limited to Hyannis Fire. And I think we have forged, a relationship that, will benefit us not just on this, significant issue, but on all issues. And we truly see that. So, Chief, thank you. It's greatly appreciated.
Mr. Ellis, I appreciate that. Good evening, councilors. Peter Burke, Hyannis Fire Chief. As many of us have experienced or heard, there's been a challenge in accessing COVID testing across Cape Cod. As cases increased on the Cape, our legislative delegation, along with members of the reopening task force, asked for a state-funded Stop the Spread site like has been established in other metropolitan areas. The state was unfortunately unable to support that request, but our legislators were successful in getting earmarked money released to the county for the purposes of testing. The county intends on eventually opening 3 sites, one on the upper, mid, and outer Cape respectively. The county has partnered with Cape Cod Healthcare to open one in Hyannis. After consideration of many different sites, the Melody tent was selected. Essentially, it was the best of the options, all of which had their own challenges. The community college is no longer available due to construction. The size of the Scudder Avenue lot at the south side of the Melody tent should allow for a queue of vehicles to be completely off the road during testing. It has the added benefit of being relatively close to the center of town, recognizable and accessible. It is also close to where we have seen the most cases of COVID and is also close to the hospital campus. The test will be scheduled via a phone line staffed by Cape Cod Healthcare, and appointments will be made for the same or next day from the phone call. That will reduce traffic impacts. In other words, we don't expect that there'll be lines of cars out into the street like you've seen elsewhere. The test will be self-administered nasal swabs, which are witnessed by firefighters, EMTs, or other healthcare professionals to ensure that they're done properly. So this isn't the really deep nasal pharyngeal that you may have seen. It's really just a nasal, like front of your nose type of swab that you'll do yourself, then put in a test tube and hand back to the person witnessing the exam. From there, they're sent to a lab for analysis. These are not rapid tests. They're the PCR tests that you may have heard referred to as the gold standard. Results will be returned in about 24 to 48 hours. That's simply a lab testing limitation. Insurance will be billed for the cost of the test, but out-of-pocket costs for those without insurance will be minimal. Right now, the target is to be open before the middle of the month. We anticipate it will likely run through the spring. In addition to the state funding, both the county and Cape Cod Healthcare have committed substantial funds, staff, and equipment to the project. Hyannis Fire has simply been a supporting partner on the project, and we do anticipate that other fire departments will be assisting us with staffing it as well. We are confident that this will make testing more accessible to those that need it. And I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, Mr. President, should you choose, or Mr. Ells.
Thank you very much. Councilors, direct questions. Councilor Cullum, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the update and all your hard work on the issue. How do people get the test? How do they call Cape Cod Healthcare, or they have to be referred through their physician in order for their insurance to kick in? This seems to be like a big sticking point from everybody that I've spoken to how to get a test that's paid for by your insurance.
So our understanding, and this is still some of the planning phases, as of this afternoon, there'll be a phone number, like a 1-800 phone number you'll be able to call. Essentially, whether you have primary care provider, insurance, like regardless of your scenario, you'll call that number and you'll be scheduled for a test. If you do have insurance, you'll take that information and bill it. If you don't have insurance, there'll be some other billing mechanism, but very, very inexpensive, like less than $50 per test, probably even substantially lower than that. So I think the challenges that we all know in terms of either needing a doctor or an order or some other type of difficulty, the intention is to reduce that, but also not develop a scenario you have like 400 or 500 people per day trying to get tested without
Right.
any organization.
But you don't need to be like symptomatic or exposed. Like there's none of the traditional things that you'd have to go through for your primary care physician.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good to know. And I hope that the town can then, disseminate the information on Channel 18 and in all Facebook and Twitter and whatever else we use to make sure that this information is available to everybody, because I've heard a lot of people that were concerned that, maybe it's tertiary exposure or whatever, but they were very concerned and then had to jump through a million hoops. So this is really good news. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilor Snett, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chief Burke. Did you say the hours or the days that you're planning to run this testing site?
I did not. Right now, the plan is
Okay.
7 days a week, likely 8 to 5, give or take. We're still in the planning phases. This is the longer you run it, the more expensive it is, of course, but also it's more available to people. So I think we're working through the value propositions on that now.
And this would not be limited to Barnstable residents. This is just a site that happens to be located in Hyannis.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Dagwan, please.
And this will be available to anyone, whether they have insurance or not. I've been tested 3 times, and 2 times I had to have insurance, and the 3rd time I did not. So I think it's important that people know that if they don't have insurance, they're still they can still go get tested.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Shaughnessy, please.
Thank you, Chief Burke. I was wondering if you know the efficacy rate of the test that you're referring to, the self-administered.
So, offhand, I do not. I can share with you that we are using them here at Hyannis Fire internally. After our staff reviewed them, I want to say it's like 99.8, but they're within that margin of error that's completely acceptable. And what they do is they speed up the testing process, they reduce exposure, and they reduce the staffing and personal protective equipment needs. So the trade-off is valuable.
I'm sorry, and what's the name of this particular test again?
So it's an anterior nasal PCR.
Thank you very much.
It's using the Broad Institute lab in Cambridge is the lab that's going to be utilized.
Awesome. Thank you.
Madam Vice President, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chief Burke. Do you have a time when this is going to commence? Is it a week out? Is it days out?
So we're hoping by end of next week is a likely target right now. It's a little bit of a moving target, but that's our suspicion is we should be able to be up and running likely next Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Burke, on the insurance part of this, just so more people, it's going to be a lot of questions, but they would bring their insurance card with them and you would run that card at that time, or do you know which insurance companies are going to pay and how much they're going to pay? I'm just wondering, do you end up having to get into a billing situation?
So that's all good. I'm sorry, Mr. President. That'll be managed by Cape Cod Healthcare. So I can't speak specifically to that. My impression is that when you call to make your appointment, that will be handled at that moment in time. So I don't think there will be a large impact on that.
Great, thank you. Any other councilors' questions for Chief Burke, please? Seeing none. Chief Burke, thank you to you and to your staff and the great work that you've been doing. Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next item, congratulations to the town of Barnstable's Channel 18 staff on winning 6 awards at Wednesday night's Northeast region of the Alliance of Community Media Nor'easter Awards. They took 3 first place, a second place, and 2 third places. So we were very excited that the good work we know they've been doing was recognized more broadly. So thank you, staff. We appreciate it. As a reminder, the town of Barnstable continues to follow the orders and directives of our governor. As a reminder, the governor continues to frequently update his orders and directives. Therefore, I encourage everybody to go to the mass.gov COVID website or the town of Barnstable website and read these orders and directives. I know I say this every time, but once again, people run with information that isn't from mass.gov COVID, and they make decisions and they react and respond to information that doesn't come from these locations. And so I repeatedly direct them there because that's the official site and we are following the governor's orders and directives. The town of Barnstable is now designated as red, high risk, by the Mass Department of Public Health. We've experienced increases in the average number of positive cases. We're into double digits in Barnstable, requiring continued attention of our residents in following proper safety protocols, proper hygiene, wearing your mask, physical distancing, limiting gathering size are all critical, and taking personal responsibility to act given this situation is critical. All you have to do is watch the nightly news across the country, and the new team that's working on this at the federal level are reinforcing these exact same things. This is the best way to manage this issue short of a vaccine. So please adhere. We are still in phase 3, step 2, but we're going to go back to step 1 on Monday. We have been formally notified by the Department of Public Health that the town of Barnstable is going to go back a step. And that's a direct result of the statistics relative to positive cases being identified. So once again, I can't reinforce enough the fact that you need to wear a mask, properly distance, proper hygiene, limit group size, don't become lax during holiday seasons. If you're together, okay, but follow those other protocol and take personal responsibility. And we're not seeing the number, there isn't a leveling yet. These numbers are still rising. So please be aware of that. We are proceeding with the tasks in the updated budget action calendar for FY22 as scheduled, and have incorporated the town council's updated strategic plan into our budget planning documents. We continue to prepare the proposed capital and operating budgets for FY22. We await the state of Massachusetts to pass their FY21 budget, which establishes a baseline for state aid, and state aid is used in establishing the town's FY22 operating budget. We are using the preliminary state budget with the assumption of level funded state aid until such time as the final state budget is approved. So we are proceeding with our budget planning with those assumptions. The proposed calendar year fee hearing was held on November 17, 2020 via Zoom. The proposed fees are posted on the town's website homepage under in the news section as proposed fee hearing notice. I plan to approve the proposed fees on December 16, 2020, pending any further comment. I've only received one comment today. We anticipate holding the joint meeting workshop with the town council school committee to review the financial condition of the town in January of 2021. Usually we've already done it by now, but because we're waiting for the state budget to be established, it's been suggested, and we've followed that suggestion to wait until we see what that approved budget is. At the last town council meeting, our finance director provided the town council with a presentation on the tax levy, shifting options for setting the FY 2021 tax rate. We wanted to provide the council with this information prior to the annually required tax classification vote that is scheduled for later this evening. The votes include a decision on the percentage for residential exemption, which can be a range of 0 to 35%, and whether or not to split the tax rate between residential and commercial classes for property. We've had a 20% residential exemption in place since FY 2006, and the council has elected not to split the tax rate between commercial and residential since FY 2007. For more information about our operating budgets, capital budgets, and general budgeting, you can go to our website and find all that information. I actually don't like doing bullet number 5 because I always feel as though it may trigger a storm event. But in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 31D, I provided the town finance director with the authorization to deficit spend for snow and ice removal in fiscal year 2021. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we have a fiscal or a financial impact like we did last year, which we spent very little money on snow and ice. Thanks to the support of our generous community partners and volunteers, the Council on Aging staff assembled and delivered 133 Thanksgiving meals to older residents in our community as part of their annual turkey trot. Many of these residents live alone and do not have the means or capabilities to prepare holiday meals. The meals include full Thanksgiving dinner with all of the trimmings prepared by Casual Gourmet, a breakfast muffin provided by Dunkin' Donuts, cranberry apple juice provided by Coca-Cola, delicious pumpkin pies provided by the Centerville Pie Company, sweet Hawaiian rolls provided by the Barnstable Neighbor to Neighbor, and bags of mints and chocolates provided by Barnstable Council on Aging staff. There were also beautifully decorated holiday pictures colored by local children and our staff. We are grateful to the Friends of the Barnstable Council on Aging for providing generous financial support for this event. Barnstable Recreation partnered with the Cape Cod Culinary Incubator and sponsors to support local families in need by providing 54 pre-made turkey dinners consisting of turkey, stuffing, gravy, multiple sides, fresh rolls, homemade cranberry sauce, and finished off with pie from the Centerville Pie Company. The event was supported by many local businesses, and I've listed them in my communication to you. The turkeys were donated to us, and our police and recreation staff distributed the meals on the day before Thanksgiving, and they also provided them proper instruction for reheating the meal. So it was done safely as well. The Remote Learning Center currently has 45 participants registered from grades 4 through 7. Students come to the HYCC when in-person school is in session during the week from 8 to 3. The students are placed in pods as they are during school, so students can work together to assist each other, as well as staff assist students with any issues with assessing their classes online and with schoolwork as needed. When they are not in class, program staff engage the students with additional activities, including science experiments, arts and crafts, and physical activities. We will soon be adding guest speakers to further enhance their education. In addition, any student may stay until 4:30 to participate in additional activities if parents need to work or just want to place their children in a safe and fun environment. All CDC and state COVID protocols and guidelines are followed to keep the participants and staff safe. Thanks to the Community Development Block Grant for funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development and a gift from the Cooperative Bank of Cape Cod, this program is offered free of charge to those that are participating. So we're excited. Initially, we only saw a handful of students participate, and it was limited initially to 6, 7. Our staff identified that broadening it in coordination and conjunction with our school department, if they could go 4 through 7 and better communicate the fact that we were able to obtain that grant and bring the price down, that we would add numbers of students, and we did. So we're very pleased to see this opportunity for our youth. And finally, on October 29, 2020, the Town Council held a special Town Council meeting on fiscal policy review on the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan. And I've attached that link in case you want to go back and review it. In our efforts to develop fiscal policy relevant to the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan, Mark Milne, Director of Finance, shall provide a fiscal policy presentation regarding the CWMP that is focused on fiscal policy related to one of several financial options for the Town Council to consider. We have a second special Town Council meeting scheduled on December 10th at 7 p.m. via Zoom for further discussion with a proposed sewer assessment ordinance for Town Council to consider at a future meeting. This is only one of several fiscal issues, so we do anticipate additional meetings beyond this to continue to address these fiscal policy issues and trying to establish those clear fiscal policies in the near future. And so at this point, I'll stop. If you have any questions of what I've presented, I'm certainly here to answer. And I would ask Mark Milne to give you an overview of what we hope to have a in-depth discussion on December 10th. So if you have any questions preceding this last item, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Any councilors' questions for Town Manager Els, please? Councilor Snap.
Thank you, President Hebert, and thank you, Mark, for a very comprehensive report. I have two very different questions, but the first one is, could you remind us of what it means to go back to step 1 in the governor's plan? Because
I can.
Okay.
Now, I think it's very important that people go, I'll say this because I say it too often, that people go to the mass.gov and not make their decisions based on, hold on here, I'm looking for the, not make their decisions based on what I say, or, because this will be recorded. They need to go to the specific site. They need to look at the details, whether it's personal or professional, and they need to understand how these directives and orders and these modifications impact them. But late this afternoon, we received the formal notification, from the state that we're moving back to step 1. And it's order number 56 that describes this. And it specifically talks about communities that begin to move or have moved into the red category consistently for 3 weeks. And so what's impacted is your question. And in general, the types of businesses that are prohibited at this point are indoor theaters, performance venues, roller skating, trampoline parks, obstacle courses, laser tag, escape rooms. Certain types of businesses need to reduce their capacity from where they are right now, specifically driving and flight schools, gyms, libraries, museums, arcades, lower contact indoor and outdoor recreational businesses. Outdoor gatherings are limited to 50 people. Indoor theaters and performance venues can only operate at 25% capacity and no more than 50 people. There's other detail that is in the order relevant to moving back to step 1. But in general, that's what's impacted. Now, you may say, well, okay, that's very targeted. Yes, it is at this point. But still, don't go off of just what I've said. go back, read it yourself, and if we can be helpful in getting questions answered for you, call us and we will absolutely do.
I just have a second question, and maybe Lynn or Sarah could answer. I'm very excited about the awards that Channel 18 received. And is there any more specific information on the first place winners? And was it certain programming that was awarded?
Yeah, Lynn Poyant's there. She actually, I have an email from her, but Lynn, go ahead.
You're muted, Lynn.
I'm trying to unmute and I'm trying to put my camera on, but it's not showing up. My apologies for that. So there's actually 3 fantastic programs that they did, and I have to really give a shout out to Sarah Beal as our station manager, Paula Hersey, who's our assistant station manager, Chris Letta, our video specialist, and Stone Dow, who is our video assistant. The first place awards were for Stormwater 101, which was in the PSA short program category. The students of Sandy Neck in the school, won the education program category. The Hyannis Water System won in the science, health, and spirituality category. So that involved DPW, Barnstable Public Schools, Marine Environmental Affairs, and then the Hyannis Water System. And then, if you don't mind, the second place was Intergenerational Interviews, which was in the Profile Talk Show category. And that involved a number of our Barnstable High School students, some through the Youth Commission, who worked with our Council on Aging to get some of that programming. Our 2 third place programs were High West, I Have a Dream, in the Diversity Empowerment category, which if you've ever seen the students from High West go before the school committee, they're phenomenal. It truly shows us hope. And then the last 3rd place award that we got was Learn How to Shellfish in the Municipal Government Programming category. And so that's our fantastic shellfish constables that worked with our Channel 18 staff. So it truly showed a wide variety of what the town of Barnstable has to offer.
That's really great, Lynn. Is there an easy way for the public to see those prize-winning videos?
Actually, yes. Sarah Beal has created a playlist for us, and it will be included in tomorrow's e-news, and then we'll also be sharing it out through social media.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other, Councilor Clark, please. You're muted, Councilor. Okay.
Thank you, Council President Hebert. Will there be a link on the town's website on how to get tested for this COVID, very forward-looking COVID testing through the Hyannis Fire Department?
We'll prepare any information that we can accurately present. I'm always cautious where we don't hold the direct control. So we will access the information and we will make those links available when they become available. That's all. I am very cautious of stating something that we don't actually have the control over.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Levesque, please.
Thank you, President Hebert. I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you, Mark, for the great report. And again, congratulations, as Councilor Schnepp has said, to Paula, Sarah, Stone, and Chris. I had just before we went into the pandemic, they had just opened that beautiful studio. And I know it was very disappointing for them to not be able to utilize all the aspects of that studio and do the programming that they really wish to do. So throughout this COVID experience, I think we all are trying to find the silver linings and the good news. And this is good news for everybody there, because I know it was so disappointing that they weren't able to use that brand new studio the way they wanted to and where they wished to service the town of Barnstable. So kudos to them for that. And I hope that brought a joy to the station, everybody over there at Channel 18. Also, just wanted to thank everybody at HYCC for all the work that they do throughout this process, trying to make things happen for the children here in Barnstable and the people coming to visit, be it different sporting events, whatever it might be, to try to keep it as safe as possible. And also throughout the week, the Thanksgiving Day week, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, of all the events taking place to deal with food insecurities and hand out the most delicious food I have ever, I think, handed out for Thanksgiving. It was very impressive. I mean, you have chefs from all over Cape Cod that make this food. It's no joke. And to be able to hand that out to people, it really makes an impact when you just see people literally in tears saying, I'm so glad you're here. I've never had to ask for help before, but the smiles on their faces and the amount of food that was available for these people. And again, the staff over there willing to jump in, police department, all the resource officers. I'll touch a little bit on it during council communications as well about upcoming events. But it really was amazing 3 days before Thanksgiving, the amount of people that were served and taken care of, elderly and those in need throughout the town of Barnstable. So thank you very much, Patty, Mark, George, all those at HYCC. And of course, Brian Morrison, our fearless community officer. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councilor Shaughnessy, please.
Thank you, President Hebert. Mr. Ells, I wanted to know, with regard to the Remote Learning Center, who is the contact if I have a potential guest speaker in mind, someone who could maybe provide some science experiments and projects? Who would they contact about that?
Probably Patty or Madeline. So
Okay.
Either or, whichever one you can get first. If there's any problem, direct them to me, and I'll make sure they reach the right person.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, councilors. Mr. Ells, do we want Mr. Mill to make a presentation here?
Yes, Director Milne will give a PowerPoint presentation in preparation for the special town council meeting next Thursday.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, councilors. Mark Milne, Director of Finance, and I want to thank Town Manager Ells for bullet number 5 in his communications this evening. This weekend's weather event will likely turn to snow for us now. I'm going, as Mark mentioned, there are several components to the fiscal policy that we need to review. Tonight, I want to share with the council one of the first major components that we need to address, and that is the very first of the sewer assessments. So we plan on bringing forward in the near future a ordinance around sewer assessments, and I want to provide a high-level overview of what we plan the content to be for that ordinance, so that you're prepared with more information going into the meeting when we first start discussing that. The main sections within the ordinance that we plan to bring forward include these bullet items, basic requirements and authorization and definitions right up front. But then the meat and potatoes really come into the 4th section where the sewer cost apportionment decisions need to be made. Now the cost for the sewer comprehensive wastewater management program will need to be broken down into what we call or refer to under the law as general and special benefit facilities. General benefit facilities being items like trunk mains and force mains and pumping stations. These are assets that serve multiple pumping districts. And it's important to differentiate between the two because the general benefit facility costs can be spread out amongst a greater number of property owners. Special benefit facilities are like the sewer mains that go in front of homes where that a lateral line to the house can be hooked up to. Those are allocated amongst a smaller group of homeowners, and essentially the homeowners that abut those sewer mains. So we have to define the breakout between general and special benefit facilities. So there'll be a definition of that included in there. The cost shall be equally divided between the total number of existing and potential sewer units using the uniform unit method. Potential sewer units being the units that could exist on undeveloped land, essentially. A sewer unit is the assessment equivalent correspondent to a single family residential lot as permitted under our zoning ordinances. That will be the definition of a sewer unit. And the assessment allocation can either be based on a percentage cost share or a dollar amount. We're going to be including a recommendation that uses a dollar amount. It provides more certainty to the fiscal impact for property owners and avoids large fluctuations in assessments. And I'll show an example of that momentarily. And the recommendation is to initially put in an assessment cap of $17,000 that is adjusted annually for inflation using a construction cost index. $17,000 apportioned over 30 years would be about an $807 annual assessment, or about $67 monthly. Example of a cost apportionment for a sewer assessment. So if we have a general benefit facility infrastructure asset installed that costs about $10 million, say like a main trunk line, that eventually will carry sewage for 1,000 sewer units, that averages out to $10,000 per unit. And under a 50-50 cost sharing plan, it would be $5,000 per property owner and $5,000 subsidy from the town. If we were to cap the sewer assessment at $17,000, a property owner's share would be 100% or $10,000. But then we have to follow the special benefit facility costs. So when we take that trunk main and we tie into it a sewer main that goes down a neighborhood adjacent to that trunk main that costs $3 million, for example, and provides public sewer to 100 sewer units, the cost per unit for that special facility cost is $30,000. On a 50-50 cost sharing plan, it would be $15,000 for the property owner and $15,000 subsidy for the town. To that, we have to add those, the general benefit facility cost for those 100 units of $10,000. So a total assessment would be $40,000 when you include the special facility cost and the general benefit facility costs. On a 50-50 cost sharing plan, that's $20,000 for the property owner and $20,000 subsidy from the town. If we have a cap in place of $17,000, it would be $17,000 for the property owner and $23,000 subsidy for the town. So if we take a project with less density, for example, let's say we get into a sewer main that's going to cost us $3 million, but it can only service 50 units because it's a less dense neighborhood. The cost of that sewer main will be $30,000 a piece, just for the special benefit costs. When you add in the general benefit costs attributable to that project, we're up to $70,000 or $35,000 each under a 50-50 cost sharing plan. With a sewer cap of $17,000, you can see potentially what the significant variation in assessments could be if we were to go with a 50-50 cost sharing plan. So rather than implementing a program that will result in significant fluctuations in cost sharing like that to property owners, we'll be recommending a dollar amount on the cap for sewer assessment beginning at $17,000 or with any other number that you feel is appropriate to start with this program. And the subsidy from the town is going to vary then. And that's to provide, again, to provide more predictability for the homeowners that are involved in this program. So another section of the ordinance will include a part on estimated assessments. The town has the ability under state law to issue estimated assessments. This may be necessary from time to time for cash flow purposes, especially on those larger projects that involve general benefit facility costs, where we may incur millions of dollars in costs, but we may not get out into the neighborhoods to do the special benefit facility infrastructure for a few years later. If we need to, we could issue estimated assessments under those circumstances, but only up to 50% of the project cost at the time of signing the construction contract. So using that previous example, we could issue estimated assessments for up to $5,000 to all 1,000 sewer unit or property owners involved in that general benefit facility project. And we would only do that if the financial cash flow needs warrant to do so. Another section in the program or in the ordinance will be the topic of sewer connections. This cost of a sewer connection is going to vary based on many items, in particular, the unique characteristics in particular with every property that abuts a sewer main, whether it's the setback from the road, the location of the existing sewer and where it exits from the structure, as well as any potential other potential obstacles that are on that property. We're going to recommend that we include this cost in the connection cost in the construction project itself. This will allow us to connect the properties with the owner's consent. We will need owner's consent to do so most likely, but do it at the time of construction when we're putting the sewer main in the road. We have the equipment mobilized. We have the cost estimates provided in the bid when they're submitted, and we could have the contractor that the town hires do the connections at the time of construction. And this can also provides the homeowner the opportunity to add that cost to their sewer assessment. Again, so there'll be no out-of-pocket cost to them if they were to take on this responsibility themselves and hire their own contractor. Then they're going to have to find another way to pay for it. Potentially, it could cost more if somebody has to come in and reopen the street to connect their lateral line to the sewer main. So we'll have a recommendation there to include this part of the program as part of the construction contract as we're installing sewer mains. We also have a systems development charge in there that we're looking at. This is a fee in the utility industry that's charged to new customers. This is to recoup the investment that we've already made in the backbone of the system. This will be paid at the time of connection to the sewer system. It's a one-time charge. We had a rate study done, and we're recommending that the $1,600 one-time charge for a sewer systems development charge be implemented as part of the program as well. And if we do it at the time of connection, we can allow that cost to be added to the assessment as well, offering a homeowner the opportunity to amortize that cost over a 30-year period. And then there's the interest rate on the sewer assessments. We can either charge a flat 5% rate, as we have done in the past on most of our road assessments and our other sewer assessments, or we can charge an interest rate of up to 2% more than what the rate the town incurs on borrowing to fund the construction project. Our recommendation is going to be to implement a 2% interest rate that's above the town's borrowing rate, because this provides funding for administering the program. It's just another revenue source for the program to reduce assessments and any general fund contribution. And ultimately, the interest we actually collect on assessments will always be less than the interest we pay on borrowings. And the reason why is that many of these assessments are going to be paid off early. They won't amortize over 30 years. Homeowners refinance, Properties change hands, and at the time of those transactions, 99 times out of 100, these liens have to be paid off as part of that transaction. And so we end up collecting the outstanding principal balance on the lien, but we never get all the interest that is assessed on a betterment. And this also treats all property owners equally, that everybody pays 2% more than what the town incurs in their borrowing rate to fund the construction of the project. So finally, again, this just addresses the first bullet here, sewer assessments. The other items that we went over previously regarding any property tax contribution, any other excise taxes that may be available to help pay for this program, as well as the possibility of redirecting any community preservation funds for this program are still need to be resolved. We cannot use existing community preservation funds. That is not an allowed purpose under that program. The sewer comprehensive wastewater management plan is not an eligible program for that program under that community preservation program. However, what we're thinking here is that if we were to reduce the surtax under the community preservation fund to offset any property tax contribution, that's the idea behind that. So that would require a couple of legislative actions on the council's part and some votes of the community to implement something like that. So that ends my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions councilors may have.
Councilors, questions for Mr. Mill, Director Mill, please. While you're thinking for a moment, I just wanted to clarify to listening public that this is a special meeting that will be held on December 10th at 7 o'clock. But it is strictly on this subject, and we will not have public comment on this. We are in a learning mode, and so this is a special meeting for the town councils. It will be recorded, I believe it will be done live. So, but it's strictly for this issue without public comment. Councilor Stepp, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mark, for the presentation. It's somewhat difficult to ask questions without having the presentation in front of us, so I'm sure we'll be getting that shortly. One recommendation I have, and this is both to help us and to educate the public, wherever we can have graphics to describe what we're talking about, that would be great. And I especially like the difference between general facilities and special. It's really hard to kind of grasp that just in words. And so to the extent there's ways, maps or ways for us to visualize when something is a general and when it's a facility, I think that would be really helpful in the future.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you. Councilor Clark, and please.
Thank you very much, Council President Hebert. Echoing Councilor Schnapp's request, can this PowerPoint presentation be available on the town council's website, please?
Yes, we will share the PowerPoint. And to Councilor Schnapp, an excellent question. We can illustrate, the general area that is serviced by, the mains, the trunk mains, and the pump stations that need to be installed. And then we can also show the entire area that'll be served, for example, and then how we would actually approach it neighborhood by neighborhood. And that's really what Mark's describing to you in the general versus the special, because it may take 5 years to sewer 2,500 properties, for example. And so we'll lay all that out graphically. Public Works already has that. And we will attach it to this, and we will quantify it so that as we speak about it, we can try to illustrate exactly what you've asked for. And it's extremely helpful to hear from all of you in the interim period before the 10th, these types of requests, because I do believe that though you're probably, you know, you know this more intimately than the average person, because we've talked many times about it. You're going to ask those very practical questions that our public may not ask. And that's tremendously helpful, because myself, Dan Santos, Mark Milne are immersed in this every day. So many times, you know, we've already, it's burned into our memory. So please ask the questions. It's so helpful. And we're there at your, you know, we are available for you and for our public. We are going to be developing new tools to communicate with our public so that they will know what phase they fall in, if their property is planned for sewering or not. And then as we begin to set fiscal policy, what the estimated costs will be in today's dollars. And I know I've talked with Councilor Steinhilber about making sure that there's, you know, good communication between the Board of Health and the DPW. And Director Santos and I have met with the chair of the Board of Health to specifically discuss them having access to our plan and our progress on the plan. So when you're coming in for a repair, let's say, and you know that within the next 3 years, we're moving towards sewering that area, there may very well be, and in 3 years is just hypothetical, it'll be left to the authorities of the Board of Health, but you know, they will be able to approach that sort of decision differently and well informed, so that our homeowners aren't, you know, spending money on a new Title V system and then 3 years later being asked to participate in a sewer assessment to be connected to our sewer system. So that relationship is there, and we're going to work with our Board of Health and develop even better tools so that we can make sure that we minimize any you know, negative impact on our residents and future customers of our water pollution control division. So
thank you, Mr. Ellis, for that. Any other councilors? Councilor Bogan, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Mark, as always, for a comprehensive overview of what I know is a very difficult circumstance. I do echo Councilor Schnepp's observation that it is a little difficult because there's so many moving parts here without say, and I think what I'm hearing from the town manager is that when we do speak on the 10th, you'll be able to give us examples so that here is a customer who is abutting the sewer line, here is a customer who is not going to be served. But I appreciate what I think appears to be, at least in the initial instance, a measured approach. I do like the recommendations, whether we ultimately agree to them or not, because it seems to balance the effect on the customer with the need to be fiscally prudent. So I look forward to the more detailed discussion with graphics next week.
Back to Councilor Schnepp.
Thank you, President Hebert. I know that just from having attended a number of CFAC meetings, that there's been a lot of modeling going on, what ifs. And one of the what ifs is if we go for a property tax override of some sort and it doesn't pass, I mean, what impact does that have? You know, how does that roll back on the possible sewer assessments and our ability for the town to actually subsidize a certain percentage of this project? So I imagine we'll be seeing some of that also next meeting in terms of what would happen if we have a plan and it doesn't work.
Yeah, this plan is going to be fluid. We're going to have to react and respond to events that take place around decision making around the finances. If we are unsuccessful with a override ballot question, for example. Yes, having a ordinance with a sewer assessment dollar amount in it provides us the opportunity to go back to modify that if need be. And then also we would, have to analyze the alternative funding solutions for a general fund contribution. If the thing is, no matter what form a general fund contribution takes place in, and whether it's an existing tax levy that we're talking about or an increase in the tax levy, if there's a general fund contribution, there's a townwide contribution for the program.
Thank you very, very much. A great pre-presentation of the December 10th meeting. Thank you, Mr. Ells, and thank you, Mr. Milne, for this preview. Thank you so much. And again, as councilors have requested, as much as this as possible is going to be put on the town website right away. I mean, before the 10th, this will be on the website.
The PowerPoint, yes.
Thank you very much. If we'll move on.
We will get all of you a copy of it by tomorrow, and I'll leave it to Director Milne to get it posted in coordination with Lynn Poyant somewhere where our public can certainly view it.
Thank you very much. All right. We're going to move on to. Before I move on to that, please bear with me, councilors. Usually we're in a clump and I can see all your good faces, but right now you're all over my screen. And Councilor Lebec just moved from the right to the left to the right, and so I'm having a difficult time. So please speak up. If I don't recognize you, give me more than a wave. Okay, thank you. We will now act on the minutes, including the executive session review, and I will read that first, and then I'm asking Madam Vice President will act on the regular minutes. So, councilors, prior to tonight's town council meeting, I reviewed 2 sets of executive session minutes with the town clerk and the town attorney. Based upon that review, I announce as follows. I approve the executive session minutes of August 2020 relating to a strategic session in preparation for negotiations with Mark S. Ells, a non-union employee, and I have authorized the release of said minutes. The following previously approved executive session minutes were again reviewed, and I determined as follows. The May 3rd, 1918? No, I'm sorry. I'm going to start that over again.
2018.
2018 executive session minutes relating to the strategy with respect to potential litigation against manufacturers and distributors of prescription opioids. And I have determined that continued non-disclosure is warranted. That concludes the review of the executive minutes sessions. And Madam Vice President, if you would act on the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we vote to accept the meeting minutes of November 19th, 2020 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and we have a second. Any comments on the minutes of our last meeting? We're going to do a roll call on this, Madam Clerk. Yeah, please.
Councilors Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Councilor Clark.
Yes.
Cullen,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Abstain.
Rep Grissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber.
Yes.
It passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are now open for communications from elected officials, boards, committees, staff commission reports, correspondence, and announcements. Councilors. Councilor Levesque.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to announce that the Farmers to Families program has been extended through just before Christmas at the Cape Cod Community College parking lot 12. People want to go online. They have to register for their box of fresh food. 1,050 boxes will be handed out every Saturday and have been handed out every Saturday since the first Saturday in October. And that website is Mass Military Support Foundation website at mmsf.org. And you can register for all the rest of the 3 Saturdays all at once. And if you miss that, we've been able to obtain another truck that will be at the Cape Cod 5 parking lot in Orleans on Wednesdays from 10 to 1. And if you can't make either one of those, just shoot me an email, matthewlevesque02648@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get one. So, but that's been a great program. Special thanks to Don Cox with the Mass Military Support Foundation, everybody there, Jenny Wheeler from Faith Family Kitchen, Jenny's Joy, Harry Henry at the Culinary Incubator. So many great people coming together. Of course, could not do this without Cape Cod Community College with John Cox, Chris Clark, John McKinnon, and Chief Padilla, Sergeant McGraw, everybody there. I just wanted to give a shout out and just say thank you so much. There's been so many people in need that have been helped through this process. And the Nicholas G. Exaros Foundation volunteers that have been there, Big Nick Riders volunteers that have been there, Steve Exaros. And it's been a great experience. So if anybody wants to volunteer, we'll be there in the rain this Saturday. We usually get there about 7:30, 8 o'clock and wrap up about 1 o'clock. And we could always use some muscle to lift some boxes in people's cars, pass out bread and other things, direct traffic, things like that. So thank you so much for your time. And again, thanks everybody who's been involved in that program.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your good work there, Councilor Levesque. Much appreciated by everybody. Councilor Bogan, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, one correction to Councilor Levesque. Courtesy of the town manager, you won't be standing in the rain, you'll be standing in the snow on Saturday. 2 items, both related to the Osterville Historical Museum. They are currently holding a virtual holiday art sale and show. We could use a little happiness these days. And you can go online and see what's available, and a portion of the purchase price is tax deductible. The second item, also the Osterville Historical Museum, is that they are holding their annual Festival of Trees. It is in person at the museum, which is on the corner of West Bay and Parker Road in Osterville. For those who are unfamiliar, they're lovely 4-foot trees that are decorated by local residents. One this year will be courtesy of none other than this town councilor. And it is next Thursday through next Saturday from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock. Masks are required, but there will be appropriate social distancing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors' communications? Councilor Snap, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hebert. As a result of the special town council meeting that we're going to be having on next Thursday at the December 10th, we have needed to move the regularly scheduled zoning and regulatory committee to the following week. So we will be meeting on Wednesday, December 16th at 5:30 p.m. That will be via Zoom. And we will be discussing the draft model ADU, that's accessory dwelling unit proposal that we've been discussing for the last several months, and that I reported out at our last council meeting. So that agenda will be posted on the website as early as tomorrow, but as late as Monday. I just wanted everyone to know that that meeting will be taking place on the 16th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Councilor Dagwan, please.
Yes, I have something to report, but I also had a question. I wanted to report that the Main Street Initiative is having a Christmas stroll on the 5th. We're assuming that everybody will comply with the phase 3, step 1 announcement that the town manager mentioned tonight. They're asking that you come out small groups and support our Main Street businesses who are really struggling right now during this holiday and due to the pandemic in general. So bring your glass of wine or stop in and have a glass of wine, one of the eateries there, and spend some of your Christmas money at some of our local businesses on Main Street. I also wanted to ask about a dedication that was supposed to occur for our former council president, James Crocker. And if anybody remembers the date of that dedication, I know it was in December, and it seemed that it was at the beginning of the month. I didn't want to overlook that.
Thank you, Councilor, and I believe Councilor Bogan can answer that question for you.
And thank you, Councilor Dagwan, for pointing out that I was remiss in acknowledging that. It is, in fact, next Friday, December 11th at 4 o'clock at Armstrong Kelly Park. There was some confusion because originally it was noted on the 12th at 6 o'clock, but I am advised that, in fact, it is Friday the 11th at 4 o'clock.
Can you repeat the location again?
It's Armstrong Kelly Park, right on Main Street in Osterville, across the street from Fancy's Market.
All right. Thank you for that information, Councilor. Councilor Bogan?
Yes, if I may, just following up on Councilor Schnepp's reference to the auxiliary dwelling unit, if I may ask that the notice of the meeting on the 16th be posted on the Zoning and Regulatory Committee link, because the meetings that have purported to have been held over the last few months were not on that link. So anyone that was looking on the link would have not thought you guys were meeting at all since June.
That will happen.
Thank you, councilors. All right. If no other on communications, I'll close our communications, and we will move on to old business. Seeing none, okay, we're going to move on to old business. I would ask, please, that Councilor Clark read into the orders of the day item number 2021-029, please.
Thank you very much, Council President Hubert. Item number 2021-029, allocation of tax levy fiscal year 2021 tax factor. This is old business, public hearing, the roll call majority. Resolved that the town council hereby votes to classify the town of Barnstable under the Classification Act at a factor of 1 for the fiscal year 2021.
Thank you very much for reading.
Okay.
We have a first, we have a second. Second. Snap. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Mill, you'll give us the rationale.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mark Mill, Director of Finance. I would like to recognize as well, joining us this evening is our Director of Assessing, Mr. Ed O'Neill, for any questions that you may have around these two items this evening. The first item being the factor of 1, also known as the split tax rate. We recently received our certification values for fiscal year 2021. The town's total valuation as certified by the Bureau of Local Assessment is $15,978,000,000. Our tax levy for fiscal year 21 is $132,058,000, and that results in a tax rate of $8.26, which is 25 cents less than what the tax rate was in fiscal year 20. This is mainly due to the increase in property valuation, the percentage increase in property valuation exceeding the percentage increase in the tax levy. So tonight, the two decisions before you are how will we distribute $132 million tax levy. The decisions you make this evening will not change the amount of taxes that we can levy. It will only determine who pays how much within these four classes: residential, commercial, industrial, personal property. The first option before you is the split tax rate or factor. We have had a factor of 1 since 2007. 108 communities in Massachusetts do split their tax rate as of fiscal year 2020. And this table illustrates if we were to do something like this, what the changes in the tax rates would look like at different levels. So at a 5% change, the residential tax rate would drop from 826 to 820, while the CIP tax rate would increase from 826 to $8.68, and all the way up to a maximum factor of 1.5, which would result in a residential tax rate of $7.65 and a commercial, industrial, personal property tax rate of $12.40. And at that level, we would be shifting over $8.5 million of the tax levy from the residential class to the commercial, industrial, and personal property classes. Here's a graph of a chart of what the tax bills would look like on a property that is assessed at the median residential value currently of $388,500. As you can see, there's a gradual or slight savings for a residential property owner, but there is a significant impact on a commercial, industrial, and personal property tax owner as a result of this shifting tool. And that's because 87% of our property value is made up or comprised of residential property. So every $1 saved by a residential property taxpayer results in a commercial, industrial, and a personal property taxpayer paying almost $8 more. I'll stop there and answer any questions you may have.
Councilor Schnepp, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mark, the figures that you just showed in terms of the percentage of the levy that's divided between residential and commercial, that's based on the most recent assessments that were completed?
That's correct.
And was there any change in the percentage between residential and commercial because of the way that things were valued?
Yeah, there was about a 2% change. Residential class made up about 89% previously, and that's dropped to about 87% as a result of the valuation changes.
So in a sense, commercial got a little bit an increase in valuation as a result of the last assessments?
That's correct.
So in a sense, they're also going to be carrying a larger portion of our tax burden as a result of that.
2% more of the levy, exactly.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors' questions for Mr. Milne? And we thank Mr. O'Neill for being with us also. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to ask us to open public hearing on this item. Cindy, do you have anybody for public hearing?
No, sir, nobody on the phone.
Thank you very much. Sarah?
There's no one via Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will now close public hearing and we'll have council discussion, some more council discussion. I'm sorry, Councilor Atzelis, are you saying anything to me? You're sideways, and I didn't know if you're waving.
I'm making an adjustment. I apologize.
No problem. I just know if you had a question. No problem. Thank you.
No.
No. Okay.
Is that better?
Beautiful. Awesome.
Okay.
Anybody? No question. Okay. So I would entertain a motion to vote on item number 2021-029, please.
Mr. President, you have the motion, I believe.
Have the motion, so.
You have the motion and the second. You can just take the vote.
Going to take our vote. So if you would, Madam Clerk, please.
Counselors Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes, I just want a point of order. I just want to make sure that we understand that a yes vote keeps it at one, correct? All right, yes.
Thank you. Good observation. Councilor Steinhardt, did you have a comment?
Nope, I was just reaffirming
Okay.
Councilor Clem's comment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Rap Cressetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Bogan, if you could kindly read into the record of the day, item number 2021-030, please.
I will do that. Item 2021-030 is old business requiring a public hearing and a roll call majority. It is the allocation of the tax levy for the fiscal year 2021, the residential exemption. Be it resolved that the town council hereby votes to adopt a residential exemption of 20% for fiscal year 2021 as written.
Second.
We have a first, we have a second. Thank you very much. Mr. Milne, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mark Mellon, Finance Director. And I'm going to share my screen, just a couple of slides on this vote that needs to be taken by the council. The residential exemption is a tool that allows us to shift a portion of the levy paid by the residential class between taxpayers within the residential class. This item does not affect the commercial, industrial, and personal property tax of class payers. The exemption can be up to a maximum of 35%. The way it's calculated is it's applied to the percentage that's adopted is applied to the average assessed value of a residential property in town. The property owner has to make sure it has to be living in that premises, and it has to be their primary residence for income tax filing purposes as of January 1, 2020 to qualify for this exemption in 2021. Again, this option only shifts taxes within the residential class, and 15 communities out of 351 in Massachusetts currently adopt this. We have currently 11,760 qualified residential properties who've met the qualifications this year. They're eligible for this exemption if it's passed. The way it's calculated is the total residential value of $13.9 billion is divided by the total number of residential parcels of 25,647 to arrive at the average residential value. The percentage adopted is applied to that number, and if it remains at 20%, the exempted value is $108,417 for each qualifying residential property owner. If we have 11,760 of those, we will be removing from taxation almost $1.3 billion from the equation to arrive at the tax rate. And so when we reduce the $13.9 billion residential value by almost $1.3 billion that won't be taxed, the tax value is $12.6 billion. The residential tax levy that's going to be raised is $114.9 million still. That does not change. So we come up with a higher residential tax rate then in order to continue to raise that $114.9 million from the residential class. So that's why the residential class tax rate ends up being more than the CIP tax rate. Here's an example of the shifts and what the dollar savings would be on a median residential property in town. Currently at 20%, which has been in place since fiscal year 2006, the tax savings to a property owner at that value is $660. You can see it ranges from $152 in tax savings at 5% all the way up to $1,252 at 35% or the maximum. Again, we've had 20% in place since 2006, and an affirmative vote this evening would keep that at 20%. Here's an example at different property values as to what the changes or differences in the tax bills would be at these levels. You can see the lower valued properties starting here at 300,000 in this illustration. The lower the value of the property, the larger the benefit of this tax savings tool. As that value in property increases, the savings diminishes till you get to the point here where the property value of $1,174,000, they pay the same amount of tax. So if you have a qualifying resident in town with a property valued at that level, they will pay the same amount of tax as they would if there were no exemption in place. And so there's no value or no tax savings to a property owner at that value or higher as a result of this tool. It's really a tool for the lower valued properties in town to save taxes on those lower valued properties in town. And that concludes my comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mill. Okay, rationale. So we'll check in on public hearing. I'm going to ask Sarah, anyone available to speak on public hearing?
No one on Zoom at this time.
Thank you very much. And Cynthia?
No, sir, there's nobody on the phone.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one for public hearing, we will close public hearing. And councilor discussion, please. Councilor Snell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mark, are multifamily or residential rental properties considered under residential tax classification or commercial?
I'll direct that question, if you don't mind, to Director of Assessing Ed O'Neill.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, Council President Hebert, councilors, colleagues, excuse me. Any residential, including apartments, are valued and taxed at the residential rate. Even though it could be a large complex, could be considered a business. And multiple 4 and 8 units are considered a business. They are taxed residentially. A place of habitation per the guidelines, state codes that we have to adhere to.
So by that definition, rental properties are actually taxed higher than commercial properties, right? Because they're not getting the residential exemption, so they actually get the higher rate. Is that how that works?
Well, it'd be the lower rate, right?
Well, unless you are the homeowner. So if you're somebody who's renting units, so it's a non-primary owner and you're renting, you're telling me that is taxed at the residential rate, right?
Well, the higher as Director Milne said, the residential rate, the higher rate at the $9.10. Yes, but they would get the $108,417 off their value first. So if they live in a 2-family or a 3-family, say.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you have a landlord who has a 4-unit property,
correct,
or 14-unit property, they're being taxed at the higher residential rate.
Yes, correct. Right.
Okay.
Right. And some of those live in those properties and they can also get the exemption.
Okay. All right.
They're eligible if that's their domicile, correct.
So one potential, and this is not a conversation for tonight, but there are some possibilities for incentivizing possibly affordable units if we offered the residential rate, the lower residential rate versus the higher residential rate. Just for future thought.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Any other questions or discussion from councilors? Again, thank you, Mr. Mill. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. We will now take a vote, Madam Clerk, on approval of item number 2021-030.
Councilors Clark.
Yes.
Cullum.
Yes.
Gagwan.
Yes.
Rap Grissetti.
Yes.
Hebert.
Yes.
Levesque.
Yes.
Neary.
Yes.
Schnapp.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Steinhilber.
Yes.
Atzelis.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Councilors, I would ask Councilor Levesque to please read into the orders of the day item number 2021-036, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is old business, public hearing, roll call majority, full town council. This is item number 2021-036, appropriation and transfer order in the amount of $522,569 in open space recreation community preservation funds for increased costs for construction of 10 new dedicated pickleball courts and 2 tennis courts with pickleball overlay lines located at 760 Barnstable, West Barnstable Road, Marshallville, Massachusetts, as written.
Thank you. We have a first, second. Second. Thank you very much. Rationale for this, I believe, is Mr. Santos.
Yes, I'm here.
Here you are. Thank you, Dan.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. At the September 21st, 2020 Community Preservation Committee meeting, the 6 members present voted unanimously to recommend to the town council, through the town manager, the Department of Public Works request for community preservation, open space recreation funds to cover increased costs for the construction of 10 new dedicated pickleball courts and 2 tennis courts with pickleball overlay lines, provision of handicap parking, and a storage shed located at 760 Oscar West Barnstable Road in Marston's Mills. This funding request represents a portion of the total project cost of $1.142 million, with $620,000 to be provided by capital improvement plan funding, already appropriated. The need and public interest for dedicated pickleball courts in the town of Barnstable has been strongly expressed by the community and was demonstrated by support at the CPC meeting for this project. Increased public interest and need for dedicated pickleball courts was identified in the recent comprehensive field study and also recognized by the town council during the capital improvement process for the project. This appropriation will be provided from the amount set aside within the Community Preservation Fund for open space and recreation, which current balance is $1,067,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Santos. Appreciate that. This is open for a public hearing. I would ask Sarah if there's anyone in queue.
There's no one in queue, but I did have a woman pop on earlier who just wanted me to let you know that this has her support. Her name was Stephanie Platt, but other than that, there's no public comment at this time.
Thank you, Sarah. Cynthia?
There's no public comment via phone.
Thank you so much. So therefore, seeing none other, I will close public hearing and we will open for council discussion. Councilor Smith.
Just curious on what happened to the budget on this one, because I believe when it came forward with the CIP, that was considered to cover the entire cost. So is it a different design than when we originally approved the CIP?
Yes, Counselor, it's actually a very different project. Our original project was to replace the tennis courts as they were. And after hearing from the pickleball people and various people in the field study we did, was determined that we would really turn this into a major pickleball project. So it's significantly different scope than it was originally.
Is it going to cover a much larger area than the current tennis courts cover?
About twice the current area.
Twice the space. Are we going to lose a few tennis courts as a result? Because I thought the original design preserved more tennis courts.
There's only going to be 2 tennis courts, and that's just where the interest is in the pickleball court. But we will have at least the 2 tennis courts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Councilor Dagwan, please. And Councilor Starr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I see that we have Patty Machado here, and through you, Mr. President, I'd like to maybe have her speak about the growing interest for pickleball since its inception. Because I know it started out through the HYCC.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor Deborah Dawang, and thank you, President Hebert and councilors. This recreational activity is exploding nationally, and it is definitely we're no exception to that explosion. We've been offering Learn to Play Pickleball for the last couple of years, and those programs fill up pretty fast. We have a certified instructor in town that we've partnered with to make that happen. We've also reached out to our special needs population, and that is a program that a lot of our special needs young people are able to play pretty well, and they really enjoy it. So this will give an opportunity for us to do more programming with them out at a site that we can actually accommodate them all at one time. And in addition, through this pandemic, we're finding more families are getting together. As I go around to the multi-purpose courts, I'm seeing a lot more activity of parents teaching their kids pickleball and then being able to enjoy it as a family. So I think this is just going to continue to grow, and that seems to be what's happening nationally. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Councilor Dagwan, again.
Again, through you, Mr. President. This is Shadow. I'd like to ask about other tournaments now for pickleball.
We will be able to. That's one of the other things that will happen with these courts. We'll be able to expand and actually bring people into town and have some more competition. As the program's grown, our players are getting really good. Like you heard from Kerry McNamara earlier, he is traveling the world here, enjoying it, and as well as Bruce and Gail. I'm trying to think of their last name, but there's a lot of people traveling now and competing all over the country. And it'll be an opportunity because the tennis courts will actually have an opportunity to expand into pickleball courts if needed. So we can actually do a large tournament here and bring people to stay in our hotels and spend money in town. So it will have that capability for us to actually promote more pickleball and more competitions, which can be extremely fun.
Thank you.
If I may, on that point, we'll actually be able to have 16 games going simultaneously, which will support tournament play.
There'll be a lot of footwork. Councilor Starr, please.
I had a question for Mr. Santos. Is the footprint that's cleared at the moment, is that basically what the footprint will be?
Yes.
When you took out the tennis courts and took out some trees around the edge?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. I had a question about scheduling. Will this be available to everybody during school time? That's a question.
I'll defer that to Ms. Machado.
So we work with the school department. We will be setting it up so that during the pickup, I don't know if anybody's been there during when the parents are picking up, it's kind of crazy, but we will, and we've, the pickleball participants have all agreed that we will be blocking off that time, will not be permitted during school, but the school does not use much of that parking lot other than for when they're doing the parent pickup. So and later in the day, it's not usually the time. They like the morning hours. So once the kids are in school, it won't interfere. And they are extremely excited and willing to work because they really feel that this is going to be a premier location. We wouldn't have a tournament, obviously, during school activity because it would bring too many people in.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, I would ask, oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Levesque.
I just wanted to reiterate it's great. Obviously, it's going to be in my backyard, and we're at West Villages, and very excited. Getting a long time coming, and we're just really kind of catching up to what other surrounding towns are already doing. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear of where the next location is going to be for maybe another set of pickleball courts somewhere in another village. So thank you very much for everybody's support.
Can I just add one thing to that, Matt? What's nice is that we did wait, quite honestly, because DPW, Mark Marinuccio and Jean-Paul have found that what they're going to be using for the asphalt, asphalt will be a higher quality, so it will last longer. So I can't say enough great things about DPW and all the support in really doing the proper research so that we're putting in a quality site. So the mistakes that were made everywhere else aren't going to happen here. So kudos big time to the DPW and the people that worked hard on that.
If I could just follow up again, just saying that just happy it's coming to fruition. That's all, and I applaud all the hard work that was put in and the willingness to expand it and really do it right. So thank you, everybody that was involved in the design and discussion, getting public input, things of that nature. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Councilor Snap?
Will there be lights? Oh, darn. So no plane in the evening? Darn it. Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Snap. All right. Seeing no other discussion, we're going to ask Madam Clerk for a roll call. This is a vote on item number 2021-036. Please.
Councilors Cullum.
Yes.
Dagwan.
Yes.
Rep Grissetti.
Yes.
Hebert.
Yes.
Levesque.
Yes.
Leary.
Yes.
Schnapp.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes, yes.
Steinhilber.
Yes.
Atzelis.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Passes unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, councilors. I would now ask Councilor Dagwan. I know you came in a little late. I was giving out assignments, but if you could read for us into the record today, item number 2021-037.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 2021-037, appropriation order in the amount of $200,000 for the evaluation of gentrification improvements at the water pollution control facility. This to be open for a public hearing and requires a majority vote.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dagwan. We have a first and we have a second. And for rationale, we're going to go to Director Santos, please.
Thank you. The Water Pollution Control Facility discharges treated effluent via the on-site rapid infiltration beds at an average total nitrogen concentration currently of approximately 6 milligrams per liter. Our permit is for 10 milligrams per liter through the Department of Environmental Protection. The Water Pollution Control Facility discharge is located within the Lewis Bay watershed, which is a nitrogen-sensitive watershed with total maximum daily load, which has been exceeded. As a result, it is necessary to remove additional nitrogen from the system. Reduction of the effluent load from 6 milligrams per liter to 3 milligrams per liter will reduce the nitrogen load by 50%, or approximately 6,900 kilograms per year of nitrogen that is currently entering the Lewis Bay watershed. As a result, denitrification improvements at the Water Pollution Control Facility have been included in Phase 1 of the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan. This project will be funded from the Sewer Enterprise Fund reserves, which were recently certified at $9,942,322, resulting in no impact on ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now open for public hearing. I would ask Sarah if anyone is in queue. Sarah? Cynthia, anyone in queue for a public hearing?
There's nobody via the phone.
On the phone. And Sarah, you still there? I'm going to assume there's no one. All right. I'm going to keep it open until I hear from Sarah, though. Sarah? Okay, we're gonna move on. If somebody shows up, then deal with it. I will go now to council discussion, please. No discussion on this item. Okay, Councilor Starr, please.
So I had a question for Mr. Santos. Thank you. All of this nitrogen goes into Lewis Bay. Does that cover the remediation that we have to do? Our part of it?
Yes, this is because we're doing additional sewering, so we're increasing the nitrogen, so this will offset that. And our part, I assume you mean the Barnstable versus the Yarmouth part.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
that's correct.
Yes, that's what I meant. Okay. But if we double the amount of effluent we put into the ground at the sewage plant, and then you get 3 milligrams per liter plus 3 milligrams per liter, it still works out?
Yes, this accommodates that.
Okay.
Exact calculation. Yeah.
Because the other thing is that we hear about little pieces in Hyannis that aren't sewered. You know, and I wonder, are there plans to pick up some of those little pieces, or we're going to mostly move?
There are.
West.
In Phase 1, there's some infill, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, any other discussion? Sarah, are you still with us? Okay, I'm closing our public hearing, and we're going to go for a vote, Madam Clerk. This is a vote on item number 2021-037.
Councilors Dagwan,
Yes.
Rep Grissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cullum.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Oh, no. Okay.
I was going to thank Andrew for coming.
Yes, thanks, Andrew. Thank you. Councilor Starr, please. Item number 2021-043, if you could read that into the orders of the day, please.
Okay, this is old business, maybe voted on tonight. Item 2021-043, grant easement to Vineyard Wind LLC in certain streets and ways, including portions of Craigville Beach Road, Strawberry Hill Road, Waquacket Lane, Finney's Lane, Addicts Lane, and Independence Drive, as written.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have a first, we have a second, and we will have rationale by Town Attorney Charles McLaughlin, please. Charlie, you're muted, Charlie.
Please forgive me. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a sequel to a series of votes and more to come, I'm sure, with respect to the Vineyard Wind project stemming from our host community agreement where this council approved 2 years ago, wherein we agreed to grant to Vineyard Wind necessary access by easement or otherwise to our public ways that in properties that we control. And the purpose would be to bring the landward portion of their subterranean cable up from Coble's Beach, which was the subject of a separate easement grant, and bring that up along the route that is indicated, and finally terminating up at Independence Park at the facility that they will be building to house the connection to the grid at the old Cape Cod Times printing facility. We do certainly recommend this grant of easement. It's again something that was very carefully examined with the assistance of the assistant town manager and others, and we are satisfied that in conjunction with our work with DPW that this will be a very worthwhile project in and of itself, and is vital to facilitating the Vineyard Wind project moving forward. Since the completion of those discussions that resulted in the host community agreement, DPW has taken advantage with the leadership of the DPW director and with Town Manager Ellis's direction to proceed with discussions with Vineyard Wind to see if we could run in parallel with the Vineyard Wind excavation and installation and run in parallel with the installation of our underground sewer along the same routes. And happy to say that our engineering staff has been working very closely, and that project is proceeding apace, and the resultant savings to the town that will stem directly from Vineyard Wind doing this work in parallel and doing what they were going to have to do anyway, which is excavate and then backfill and resurface, will save the town on those line items more than $3 million for the length of this project that we will be involved in. And secondly, obviously coordinating up these same routes, which are vital to the start of the water protection plan and sewering of the town, will avoid doing this in a coordinated effort, will obviously avoid a second disruption of the road and digging it up and all of the negative impacts that one would expect in the neighborhoods that border this area. So doing it in one swoop is certainly another reason to support it. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Okay, that's the rationale, and we're going to open this up for a discussion, council's discussion on this matter. Okay, seeing none.
Mr. President,
Yes.
did we call for public, if there was any public comment?
This is maybe after the comment, but it's not open, it's not public hearing.
This doesn't require a public hearing.
Does that answer your question, Councilor?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at the agenda.
No problem. Yeah. And so if you see there, it says maybe after the comment, roll call majority, but nothing about public hearing. Thank you for your question. If there is any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, Councilor.
Recently, I read that there might be a delay with Vineyard Wind in their approvals.
how, if at all, will that impact the sewage infrastructure that we're looking to piggyback on with them?
Mark
Yes,
Mark Ellis. I have had discussions as recent as this week with Vineyard Wind. They are looking at those potential delays. It is, as I understand it, related to entering into an agreement with a equipment provider. They don't expect it to be months. They expect it to be weeks. They are in discussions. Their engineers are in discussion with DPW town engineer. So we'll be able to report back. It is our preference, obviously, for the cost savings to have the two road opening and construction projects coincide. So if there is a delay from this spring, then we would inform the council of that, certainly in the community. But my initial discussion is that it wasn't exactly reported correctly in the newspaper, number one, and number two, they're assessing the duration of any delay that may occur. They described it as weeks, not months. But I have another meeting Tuesday next week with them. So as I gain more information, I will certainly share it with the town council.
Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions, discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. This is on item number 2021-043, please.
Councilors Rap Grissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Levesque, if you would kindly read into the orders of the day, item number 2021-046, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is old business, may be acted upon, roll call majority vote. It's item number 2021-046, appointments to a board, committee, commission. Town council is resolved and appoints the following individuals to a multi-member board, committee, commission. To the licensing authority, Aaron Webb as a regular member to a term expiring June of 2022. And the Recreation Commission, George Bent as a regular member to a term expiring June of 2022.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any other rationale you want to give on that, Councilor Levesque? We're good to go. We're open to council's questions or discussion on this. Councilor Bogan, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will only offer that, sometimes you have candidates for committees and you're just not sure. These were not in that caliber. Both Aaron Webb, who some may know owns the Daily Paper, and George Bent, I endorse enthusiastically. They were excellent candidates, and I can think of no one better to serve in those capacities.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, this is a roll call vote on item number 2021-046, appointments.
Councilors Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes. Yeah.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Rap Grissetti.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on now to new business. If Councilor Snap could read into the orders of the day, item number 2021-047, and refer it to a public hearing on December 17th, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an item of new business referred to a public hearing on December 17th, 2020. Item number 2021-047, appropriation order in the amount of $90,000 for the Inspectional Services Department fiscal year 2021 operating expense budget to fund a contract for the comprehensive monitoring of rental properties.
Second.
Thank you very much. This is a first and a second, and this is again to refer to our next meeting, item number 2021-047. And this is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please.
Counselors, Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp.
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Rapgrissetti,
Yes.
Hebert.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would ask now, please, that Councilor Clark would read into the orders of the day, item number 2021-053, please.
Thank you, Council President Hebert. This is item number 2021-053. New business and may be acted upon with a roll call majority. A transfer order in the amount of $23,870 for the replacement of an animal control van.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second, and for the rationale, I believe we have Mr. Lawson for our rationale. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Councilors. Derek Lawson, Director of Marine and Environmental Affairs. The Marine and Environmental Affairs Department maintains a fleet of 2 animal control vans. These vans are equipped to respond to a variety of calls and transport animals safely and securely. On October 12, 2020, Van 362 was involved in a motor vehicle accident. This occurred when an animal control officer was responding to a call. Fortunately, all involved were okay. However, as a result of this accident, Van 362 has been deemed a total loss. I am here this evening to request $23,870 from the Town Council's Operating Reserve Fund to replace the animal control van so we may continue to provide the town of Barnstable with the same level of animal-related services. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Any councilors have any questions for Mr. Lawson? Councilor Shaughnessy, please.
Is our animal control officer okay?
Yes, Officer Sherman was okay. Thank you for asking.
Great.
Councilor Bogan.
Thank you. Derek, does the $23,870 cover the cost of not only the van, but any required equipment?
We did receive some funds from the insurance, which was $7,800. We've already received a check. The price of the new van is $28,170. They do have some custom cages that are built that go into the back. Those are $3,500. So in total, we are asking for $23,870, and we would apply the reimbursement that we received from insurance.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I would ask Madam Clerk to roll call on item number 2021-053, please.
Counselors, Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Rapgrissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Great, thank you very much, councilors. I would now ask Councilor Cullum to please read into the orders of the day, item number 2021-054, please.
Yes, this is item number 2021-054, acceptance of sewer infrastructure within Hyannis Avenue and Marston's Avenue, Hyannis, Mass. From Hyannis Rotary LLC. This may be acted upon. It's a roll call majority vote.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. And our rationale, this would be Mr. Director Dan Santos.
Yes, thank you. Municipal sewer is not currently available for the property at 10 Hyannis Avenue in Hyannis. The property owner proposes to install at no expense to the town a sewer extension from 10 Hyannis Avenue to the existing municipal sewer system on Marston's Ave. This location is included in the town's comprehensive wastewater management plan, but is not scheduled to be sewered until phase 2. The sewer extension will include sewer services to the property line of each of the 16 adjacent properties fronting along the extension, which currently do not have the ability to connect to municipal sewer, providing these properties the ability to connect at their discretion in the future. Additionally, piping for future extensions to the adjacent side roads will be installed, and the disturbed roadways will be repaved for the full width of the roadway. The sewer infrastructure will be installed at no cost to the town. This location is proposed to receive a sewer extension in phase 2 of the CWMP. It is estimated that installation of the sewer extension would cost the town approximately $700,000. Additionally, the extension will allow for the connection of 16 adjacent properties, which will result in additional revenue for the Water Pollution Control Division. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Santos. Any council discussion, questions on this item? Councilor Neary, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Director Santos, would this be considered a benefactor's donation in effect?
I don't know really what that means. They're willing to, for the use of the property that they want to have in the future, they would rather not have a septic system there, so they're willing to engage in this sewer extension, which benefits not only them, but the town.
It sure does, and it would be wonderful we saw much more of this as time goes on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Starr, please.
I don't know if Mr. Santos can answer this, but are there two dwellings on the property? There are two large buildings on the plan. Are they both going to be sewered?
I don't know if there's two dwellings or not. I'm sorry, I can find that out for you, but I don't. Unless Griffin Bowden, Town Engineer's here, he may know that.
Griffin Bowden, Town Engineer. I don't believe the second building is necessary a residence, but any bathrooms will be tied into the sewer facility. If there is a bathroom in the second building, it will be tied in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion by councilors? Being none, Madam Clerk, this is a roll call majority on item number 2021-054, please.
Councilors Schnapp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atsalis,
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Councilor Clark.
Yes. Thank you. Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Crap Cressetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary.
Yes.
13 yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Now ask Councilor Neary to kindly read into the orders of the day, item number 2021-055, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is new business to be referred to a public hearing on 12/17/2020. It's item number 2021-055 is appropriation in the order in the amount of $148,953.25 for the purpose of paying operating expenses of the Solid Waste Division for the disposal of household hazardous waste, construction and demolition material, municipal solid waste, and recyclables, as written.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have a first and we have a second. Madam Clerk, this is to approve item number 2021-055 to be referred to a public hearing on December 17th, 2020, please. Roll call vote.
Councilors Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark,
Councilor Clark, you're muted. Councilor Clark, yeah.
Yes.
thank you. Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Yes.
Rap Grissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnapp.
Yes.
That's 13 yes.
Thank you very, very much. Councilors, this ends our orders of the day, and I will now turn this over to Madam Clerk regarding the Town Council nominations for 2021 officers.
Good evening, councilors, excuse me. Tonight we'll accept the nominations from the floor for the office of President and Vice President of the Town Council. The rules are thus, starting with the office of President, I'll need a motion to nominate and a second. Discussions and speeches are not appropriate for this evening. However, the process will be continued on the meeting on the 17th. This evening, we're merely creating a slate of nominees. So, the first hand I see for president, please. I see Jessica Rapp Grissetti.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It's my pleasure to nominate Council President Hebert to serve another term, please.
Second.
The second by Dagwan. Thank you. All right. Do I see any other hands? Yes. Councilor Shaughnessy.
I would like to nominate Councilor Levesque for president.
Second.
And that was you, Jen Cullum? Was that you that seconded?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, Paul Neary.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It would be my pleasure to nominate Precinct 2 Councilor Eric Steinhilber for Vice President.
Oh, okay. Are we done with president? I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay, good. All right. Sorry. Okay. So.
Good second.
Steinhilber. Okay. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Jen.
I'd like to nominate Councilor Paula Schnepp for Vice President.
Second.
Okay, and seconded by Shaughnessy. All right, anyone else? All right, I now declare that the nominations are closed and we will carry on the 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Having no new business or other business to attend to, we're going to call adjournment. We'll take a roll call on the adjournment. Please, Madam Clerk.
Sure.
Do you have a motion and a second, Mr. President?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second. Nice job.
Councilors Starr,
Yes.
Steinhilber,
Yes.
Atzelis,
Yes.
Bogan,
Yes.
Clark, Cullum,
Yes.
Dagwan,
Time 9:21, yes.
Ralph Grissetti,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Levesque,
Yes.
Neary,
Yes.
Schnepp,
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Woohoo, thank you. 13 yes.
Very much, and a good night to all.
Good night, everybody.